morning, lovelies. Today we are breaking down my top 10 favorite villain tropes. These are the tropes that are almost guaranteed to get me to love a villain or love to hate him. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more videos on science fiction, fantasy, and horror through a feminist lens. Also, if you can, support this channel on Patreon like these fine people. The link is in the description. Number 1. They're funny. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love funny characters. And you don't really expect the villain to be funny, so it automatically gives them a bit of personality and, dare I say, layers. Number 2, they're friendly, or amiable, or affable, or whatever word you prefer to use. Honestly, this makes them scarier, because they can trick you into thinking that they're your friend, especially if they're like, say, a sociopath and it's all an act. That's terrifying to me. Other times, like, they're genuinely trying to be nice. And then when the hero is like, no, you're the bad guy, or something else happens, and they're just like, they're so betrayed and hurt. And it's like tragic because you realize that they have no idea how to actually emotionally connect to someone healthfully. Number 3, they're competent. This is less of a favorite trope and more of a why isn't this more common? I hate dumb and incompetent villains because they're not actually a threat. If they're still giving trouble to our heroes are idiots. And I don't support idiot characters. But if they're not only competent but also very smart and intelligent, well, now they're actually a threat and I can be scared of them now. Number 4, they're in a romantic, healthy relationship. Why in our hetero-obsessed society we have so few healthy villain romances is beyond me. Actually, it's not, because we want our villains to be like scary and like despisable, and showing them in a healthy relationship, it runs counter to all of that. Of course, now that the sympathetic villain is all the rage these days, you'd think that would be, whatever. Having a villain be in a healthy, committed relationship with someone else shows layers. They have a gentler side to them. Sometimes that significant other is also a villain, and you get a villain power couple, which is terrifying, but also adorable, because if you're gonna take over the world, do it with someone you love. It is so rare for me to see this. The only healthy villain relationships that automatically come to mind are the Daredevil show, and for a villain power couple, Snowpiercer. Number 5. Pure evil. This is out of fashion, but I still love them, or at least love to hate them. What a pure evil villain is that they know they're bad, they know that what they're doing is like objectively wrong, and they don't care. Either their ambition, their desires, their end goal weighs out their moral compass if they have one, or they are gleefully enjoying their villainy. Think Hannibal Lecter, who enjoys eating people. In the end, they are very simple, and that simplicity makes them hard to pull off. Modern writers think that someone doing something that horrible, that heinous, has to have some sort of tragedy in their backstory, and that's just not true. Some people are just dicks. The point of the pure evil villain is not for you to feel sorry for them, but for you to unconditionally hate them. Number 6, they think they're the good guy. This cannot be the pure evil villain at the same time. They are very different species. The pure evil villain either knows they're evil and or doesn't care, while the bad guy who thinks they're the good guy thinks they're the good guy and is constantly trying to morally justify their actions. The bad guy who thinks they're the good guy is sympathetic, often tragic, and sometimes they make a damn good argument as to why they're doing what they're doing. It's often just their methodology that's villainous. Number 7, villain honor. This is when they do have a moral code, it just doesn't really line up with normal people. This can work with either the good guy villains or even occasionally pure evil villains. So this would be like they won't fight the hero when they're down. This is very common in anime because they want to kill them in a fair fight. Or they're a mass murderer but they refuse to steal. Or they never lie and they get their villainous deeds done with half-truths and like saying like little bits of truth or leading them on or something like that. This makes the villain layered and therefore more interesting. Number 8. Human henchmen. This is when the villain's minions act like actual people. Like the Mandalorian is constantly showing us the stormtrooper's point of view. It's hilarious, but it also introduces a gray area between good and evil. Because sure, the Dark Lord might be pure evil, eating puppies and killing orphans and whatever, but his underlings are just average Joes trying to put food on the table. What's their story? Number 9, they're prejudiced. By this I mean that they are sexist or racist or homophobic or just whatever. It should come as no surprise that I automatically hate these characters as a feminist, especially if they are sexist, because just freaking die already. But it is so satisfying to see them get their asses handed to them at the end by the people that they hate. So like a sexist getting defeated by a woman, or a racist getting their comeuppance by a person of color, etc. This is why I really love the Jordan Peele horror genre. Like, yeah, the first, 2 acts in the movie or the first several episodes of Lovecraft Country is the main characters dealing with all this racist bullshit, but at the end, like, those racists get just destroyed, and it is so satisfying. And number 10, a complicated relationship with the hero. Not romantic. When it's a romantic hero-villain thing, then it's like toxic, and I just don't like. I can see why that could work as a villain, and I have occasionally seen that done before. I'm just not a fan of it. But say a mentor-protege relationship gone sour, or ex-best friends, or family. This adds tragedy, because these are people who should be getting along, who should have each other's backs, but because the villain is being a villain, or because the good guy has morals and this cannot abide the pure evil armies to continue, they're now at each other's throats. I literally cried at the end scene in X-Men First Class. It was right after Magneto accidentally shot Charles, and like Magneto's just like, I'm sorry, like, can you please, like, I need you by my side, I want you by my side, let's do this together. And Charles is just like, hell no. And I'm just like, they got along so well throughout the whole movie, and now they can't be friends anymore because Eric's being a dick. Oh man, I love villains like that. That's all I've got. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Tell me your favorite villain tropes in the comments. And remember to check out my Patreon page for bonus content. That link is in the description. Bye, lovelies!